Imagine you're driving down the interstate and you hear your phone go off and you decide that you really need to read this text message. But as you start reading the text, you see a car in front of you and they slam on their brakes. And you slam on yours, but it's too late. Imagine what happens if you're going down the interstate and going 70 or 75 miles an hour. According to Autos and Trends, between 2001 and 2007, about 16,000 people in the U.S. have died in car crashes that were caused by texting and driving. Deaths that occurred by texting and driving rose 28% from 2005 to 2008, which, in my book, that's quite a bit. There's so many people that currently text and drive, and even though they know it's dangerous. I know because of these statistics that I'm not going to be texting and driving anymore. I realize that I need to concentrate on the road instead. Since thousands of people are killed every year because of texting and driving, I believe that the federal government needs to make a nationwide ban on texting while driving. And also they need to make sure that the states are enforcing these laws as well. Because of the growing population of cell phones each year, there's thousands of people who are killed because of texting while driving. And so in this main point, I'm going to explain all the dangers of texting while driving. Texting while driving obviously doesn't help us drive. People think that it has no negative effect on our driving, but really it has a huge effect. People think that they can drive fine while texting and driving. That's our problem. We're not capable of it. We think we're capable, but we're not. When it comes to multitasking behind the wheel, the human brain isn't equipped to concentrate on two things simultaneously, says a neuroscientist, Renee, who's an associate professor of psychology at Vanderbilt University in Nashville. She found that in brain scans, the prefrontal cortex lights up for a longer time than normal in people who are performing two tasks at the same time. This shows how the brain slows down reaction time. And even when people are in the car with their friends, they think that they need to text other people, like their boyfriend or their family. No one needs to do this. They can wait 5 minutes till they get out of the car. It seems like people pay attention to their phone rather than all the people around them. You don't need to have any distractions while you're driving. According to www.distraction.gov, there are 3 main types of distractions while driving. Visual, which means your eyes are off the road. Manual means your hands are off the wheel. And cognitive, which means your mind isn't focused on the task. Distracted driving is any non-driving activity that you take part in that has the ultimate potential to distract you from the task at hand. According to www.insureme.com, if you're texting while driving, your risk of being in a crash increases 23.2 times. Before the crash happens, you're normally either distracted by 5 seconds or even more than that because of your text. And this greatly involves the teen age group, because they're new drivers and they think that they need to text their friends all the time. Texting while driving causes erratic driving behavior. It causes you to swerve in between lanes, and it causes you to speed up and speed down as well. And the likelihood of hitting a pedestrian or hitting another car goes up greatly. According to the American Automobile Association, almost 50% of teens admitted to texting while driving, even though there are many other things that can distract you from texting. It's the most common thing that is distracting for people. And for my next main point, I'm going to explain that the government needs to put a national ban on texting while driving. Obviously, there's not one right now, or else I wouldn't be talking about this. But there are 32 states who have passed that law. According to www.ghsa.org, there are 9 states that prohibit all drivers from using cell phones while driving. And so this means an officer can give a ticket without having any other moving violation. And there are some states that obviously take this more seriously than others. Like in Utah, cell phone use is only an offense if a driver is also making another offense, like they went through a stoplight or a stop sign and they were texting. So then they get 2 citations. But if they're just texting, they're not going to get pulled over. The federal government needs to make a nationwide ban and have all the states enforce this. If they would enforce it, I really think that the number of accidents would go down, and obviously the number of accidents would decrease over time. But if this doesn't happen, then I think that us as citizens should take action. According to FCC.gov, if we set a good example for our kids, they will grow up and not learn that it's okay to text while drive. Obviously, children learn from their parents' behavior. If you get a call or a text while you're driving, pull over to the side in a safe spot and talk or text. Once they turn into teenagers, you could have a talk with them and give them clear instructions that it's not okay to text and drive at the same time. And also tell them if their eyes go off the road, even for 2 seconds, they can cause a crash or injure themselves or injure somebody else. So you could set rules in your house about not texting and driving. You should tell your friends and family about this as well, about the rules that you set in your household. And you could also tell the school about this and have them give out pamphlets to all the students and parents as well. If the government would put a nationwide ban on texting while driving, then I really think that our streets would be safer. And if teens don't learn the habit, then eventually this wouldn't be a problem at all for our society. Texting while driving, it's not even worth it. It's distracting, it's dangerous, it's against the law in some states, and it can cause an accident. Texting and driving doesn't need to happen at once. I know somebody this year who was texting and driving and she hit the guardrail on the highway. She was severely injured. The passenger was kind of injured, and the girl in the back seat, she flew out of the car and was killed at the scene. And this affected so many people at our high school and everything. It was just terrible. I hated it. Not only do the statistics show that texting while driving is very dangerous, but I've seen this on a personal level, as I just told you. And if you haven't had this experience, I wouldn't recommend it. So stop your friends from texting and driving. Just, let's change up a saying, like the old one. Friends don't let their friends drink and drive, but let's change it to where friends don't let their friends text and drive. As soon as you see someone texting, stop it. Don't let them do it for your sake and the sake of their family and friends.